Good evening, guys. Good evening. This is D Mace's The Rant, and I'm D Mace, your ranter, and this is your Rant Nation. Welcome in, welcome in. Listen, guys, so tonight I just wanted to jump on here really quick and talk a little bit about one of my favorite shows called The Gilded Age. That's right. So I'm just going to jump right into this, and you know I'm going to spoil it because I don't ever do non spoilers. I'm going to spoil this. So give you a couple seconds to go ahead and log off and come back to this video when you are done. Now, let's see. I'm gonna start off with Bertha. I'm gonna start off with the Russells first. Bertha and George Russell. Bertha has finally got her dream realized. She's finally got her golden wish, and that is to have her daughter Gladys marry the Duke. And she did this, much to Gladys's chagrin, much to Gladys's desire for not even wanting to marry him. She didn't even want. She was told she could marry for love, but that went south thanks to Bertha. Bertha crafted everything together. She got this wedding. She got everything. And now, so Gladys and the Duke have gotten married. Poor Gladys. I felt so bad for her, man. She was holed up in her room for a few days. They were worried. They didn't know what was going to go on. Georgia totally said, listen, there's no way out of this. But if you decide that you don't want to do this, then it's going to be what it is. But please understand, it's going to be worse for you than it will be for him. So she acquiesces and she says, you know what, listen, I'm going to go ahead and do this. She's coming down the aisle trepidating. She's really like, ugh. And so when she gets down the aisle, she gets to the Duke. They get up there, they say their vows. She says, I do. She starts crying, and not because she's crying tears of joy. She's crying because she's crying tears of my life is over. You know what I'm saying? Bertha's happy. Larry and George are angry because they're like, this really shouldn't have went down this way. Anyway, big, beautiful wedding. Everything looked great. Everybody looked great. One of the things that I do like about this episode is Bertha's sister has come to join the cast for a little bit. Larry, who I absolutely love his sticking it to his mother, man, because she be needing that. Larry invited his aunt, who was from Albany, New York, and this is the place that Bertha's from. Bertha's not from money. She's not from anything. She's from from very poor means. And so she tried to forget and divorce all that lifestyle like she never was there. Well, Larry invites the sister, who is still from Albany and still very much down to earth. She comes there. Bertha's angry with Larry. She's like, why did you invite her? And Larry's like, that's your sister. And she's like, where's she going to stay? He's like, this house is big enough. Now, in the background, you see George sitting there laughing. He's like cracking up about this. And I'm loving this. I'm like, yo, Larry's really sticking it to Bertha. And she deserves that. Anyway, the sister comes. Bertha's horrified. The sister comes in this really ugly dress. And then the wedding's coming up. And Bertha's like, yo, I have all these different dresses. She's like, nope, I brought my own dress. And she brings this dress that she wears to the wedding. The dress is ugly. What she wears to the dinner, the dress is ugly. Bertha's such a gangster. Bertha goes to her head waiter and she tells him to rig the cup so that when her sister drinks her coffee, the cup will break and will get down on her dress, and she'll have to go wear one of Bertha's dresses because she only has two dresses that she brought with her. That goes into play, and George notices it immediately. And George is like, we are such a devious pair. And so he's like, basically he's like, you did that to your sister. Come on, man. That's so petty. Anyway, Bertha don't back down on nothing. She stands on everything she does. She does what she does. She say what she say, and that's it. She don't make apologies for it. Anyway, so there's that. Her sister being there is a constant thorn in her side. She's reminding her of her past and all those things. Anyway, so they got that done, had the wedding and all this other kind of stuff. I feel bad for Gladys. Gladys is now on the boat with the prince, or the prince on the boat with the Duke. And the Duke is like, yo, so we got to get this out the way. We got to get this awkward stuff out the way because she's a virgin. He's like, all right, well, we got to get this awkward stuff out the way. And she's like, yo, I don't even want any parts of this, dude. But she has to do it. So I felt bad for her. Now she's also being set up because somehow he needed to marry a Yankee, as they say. I don't know what that's all about. We're gonna find out in the next episode. Anyway, let's fast forward. So now you talk about the Scotts. Peggy Scott and her parents. So of course Peggy. She's very much into a movement. She's into this this women's movement. She's into the Black Power movement, things like that for that particular time. And so she has a rally, and people are there, and her parents are there, her family's there to support her, and also the young man who is the love interest of her, he comes and brings his family. Now his family is Felicia Rashad. She plays the mother of his family, who is very snooty and very bourgeois. And the father and her come, and at the end of this, she tells Peggy, she says, "Listen, you spoke very well, but I didn't understand what you were talking about. I didn't know the reason why you had to talk about what you're talking about." She's talking about some very important stuff. And so Peggy's like, "What? You mean you don't get it?" It's because she's never been enslaved. She's never been oppressed. She's only knew the life of Newport, which at that time, from what I'm understanding, historically, Black people had a good life back then in Newport. It was almost like the Black Hamptons, if you will. So anyway, there's that part. And then she takes a jab at Peggy's father. And Peggy's mother stood up this time. She's like, "Yo, my husband is a good man. He does this. He's successful. He's da-da-da-da-da." And she just runs it down. So she ain't having none of that. So you can see where they're going to start clashing and things like that. My concern with this is now it's like, because the parents had so much control over who their children married, like how's this going to go down for Peggy and for the young man if, in fact, they do decide they want to fall in love and they want to get married? There's that part. Let's go to the Van Ryan house. The Van Ryans, and Ada and Agnes are bumping heads because Aunt Agnes is still trying to figure out, yo, look, I still can't believe I'm not in power anymore here. But she's barking around the house like crazy. Agnes is missing her husband. She's doing some really eccentric things in light of this. And her and Agnes are clashing with regards to that. Let's go to the servants. Jack and Larry. Now, Jack and Larry, they went into business together. They've been going to different companies and different CEOs, and they've been getting the door slammed in their face. Well, they went to Westing, who I believe is Westinghouse from, the Westinghouse that we know. They went to Westing, and so they presented their clock. Westing wants to buy the clock, but not only does Westing want to buy the clock, he wants to buy the clock, he wants the patent, he wants the whole shebang. So Larry's like, "Okay, fine. So you got to give it up." And he's like, "I think about talking about $200,000. And Larry's like, "You got to take it up." He's like, "3. He said, "We can't go no higher than 3. And Larry's like, I was thinking maybe 6. And so anyway, they decided to go with $600,000. Now, when they're saying 6, they're just saying, they're not saying 600,000, they're just saying 6. And so, because Jack is not from money and he doesn't know all that stuff, he's just a little serving guy. He's like 6, and then they says, "Okay, so that's going to be $600,000." And Larry's like, and Jack is like, "What?" It's like, we can't go any higher. But he was just shocked. Anyway, so now you see Jack trying to figure out what is it he's going to do with his newfound wealth, because back then $600,000 was a lot of money, and they were considering him rich. So he didn't want to tell anybody in the house. He did tell one of the head staff, and told her and confided in her. She was so shocked she dropped the bowl. She's like, "You don't have to ever work anymore." And he's like, "I don't want to do that. I like being here. This is my family." Da, 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 da. So they're keeping that under wraps for now. You can't keep that under wraps for so long. So he's trying to figure out what he's going to do with his newfound wealth. Okay, there's that. So the other thing is now, Marion and Larry. So, they're getting together. They're starting to fall in love and things like that. But on the next episode, some stuff is getting ready to go down where she finds out something about Larry. And of course, you know who's behind all this. It's Bertha, because she doesn't want Larry to marry Marion. So Bertha concocts something. I don't know what she does. We're going to find it on the next one. And because Marion's not having it, she's like, "Yo, I found out something about Mr. Russell that I didn't like, And so we're going to see how that all pans out. I hope they weather the storm with this and stick together, or Bertha's going to destroy the whole thing. So anyway, guys, that is the video for The Gilded Age. Again, check it out. It's on HBO, not HBO Max, so on Max now. I love this show, man. I'm loving everything they're bringing to this show. It is amazing, and I'm really enjoying it. So, guys, do me a favor. Hit the like, comment, share, and subscribe here. And let me know what you thought about this video. Let me know, did you enjoy this video? Did you enjoy the show? Do you enjoy the show? You want to check the show out or whatever, blah, 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 all that stuff. But anyway, guys, have a great night. Again, I'm D-Mace, your ranter, and this is The Rant Nation. Have a great night.